Send Help 2026. This is a dark comedy horror, an American film. The BBFC warning mentioned gore, bloody images, that kind of stuff. And that put me off a little bit, but I weighed it up that I was interested in seeing the film. I was mainly encouraged to see it because I came across the posters on public transport just explaining that Linda Liddell, the main character, works as a corporate strategist, but in a difficult she's put in a difficult environment, along with her boss. I didn't know much else apart from I think I knew that it was going to be a kind of desert island scenario from the posters. So it's a bit like Castaway 2000, but with more gore. And I, so Linda, she works in corporate strategy. She's not, not very charismatic. I think that's the main reason that she's detested by the new boss, and he's a real macho type. Um, so she, um, she's interested in survival game shows. You see her in the evening, and you see her at work, and she eats tuna sandwiches, and there's a huge, although she's really competent, she does super work. It seems like the guys in the team, the men in the team, they steal her work and then try and pass it off as their own in meetings. And the CEO is very much like that. This real strong macho culture, and they don't like her diligence, the fact that she's talented. So the Rachel McAdams plays Linda Liddell, this protagonist, and Dylan O'Brien plays Bradley Peston, who's a newly appointed CEO. It's a financial management company, and it seems like I think his father died, and it's like that kind of situation comes up quite often in films. I'm thinking about Horrible Bosses because Colin Farrell's character in that was pretty nasty, and that's what you tend to get. You get these sort of characters who are really rely on them male bonding and use that against women they don't like, and um, there's one or two scenes where it's very clear he's going to hire a very attractive woman. And McAdams, I've seen her for about 20, over 20 years, from Mean Girls and Red Eye and films like that back in the mid noughties. And of course, she's really very attractive, but she's very good at also playing um, a dorky, geeky type of character, very meek, and yet super intelligent. And it is like probably a bit of hyperbole, but it's like really reinforcing that the sort of stereotypes of what happens in office politics often. I mean, in the place I worked, it didn't happen as much like that. It happened on a much more subtle level. This is like really, you know, uh, I talk about the tuna sandwiches as noxious, that people complain about the odor of the food she's eating. Anyway, they're trying to sort of fob her off these men like Bradley. They're trying to get into a dead end job or to sack her. But she has a spirited protest, and Bradley decides to give her a kind of chance and wants her to come on the private jet over to Bangkok because there's going to be some sort of merger. And it's during that flight where all the men in they're taking the mickey out of her because they've seen she's applied for um, the Survivor game show, the survival game show. I think it's called Survivor. And so she's like made a video um, to try and enter, and they're having such a laugh about it. And she's like busy working actually in a different part of the plane. She's all um, buckled in, as you're meant to be, but they're even when there's turbulence, they're sort of, oh, we're going to be just having a seatbelt or for weaklings, that sort of thing. That's part of their sort of culture. And she overhears some of it 'cause she takes her earphones out, and then she's feeling upset. I mean, she's often upset because of the way she's been treated. But um, then, of course, there's the plane doesn't get to Bangkok. It crashes. I mean, you can see that in the trailer that it seems to go down. There's an explosion. The plane loses its engines, and that's where it's a bit like Castaway and a few other films where things go awful. But this is much more, mm, you know, a bit red, a bit unpleasant in the kind of things that happen in a fleeting ways. It's not too bad, but it's quite clear that Linda's going to survive. I mean, otherwise it wouldn't be much of a film. And Bradley survives, and they're on this remote desert island or remote island in the Gulf of Thailand, one of many islands. So it's hard, the people for other people, the search parties might not find them. That's what Linda's thinking is. I mean, she puts her what she's learned from television about Survivor to good use, draining coconuts, drinking, eating, catching fish, hunting boar, that sort of thing. But one of the things is like she's really good at all this, whilst Bradley's trying to like direct her, trying to still say that he's boss. And of course, circumstances aren't like that. They've possibly the shoes on the other foot, or the tables turned, to use um, a scene from The Social Network. um, a quote from that. But there's yeah, there's a lot of to and fro on the island, and I won't go into all of the details because that's what the thrill of this film is about. But it's a battle of wills, and being marooned on an island obviously makes it difficult, and there's there are there are some possible more gory situations. I thought maybe it was just on the flight, but there are a few other things that are a bit yuck, but it's not too bad. It's all very fleeting, and um, the thing that bothered me most was the sort of problematic developments of the characters, because in this sense, I didn't feel as strongly as things went on. I just thought, "Oh, right, it isn't clear cut." I mean, in a way, life isn't clear cut, but it was still fun watching all this, I thought. And I thought Dylan O'Brien and Rachel McAdams were really good at their acting. Um, I'm thinking, what would I give it score-wise? I think it's probably gonna be 7.75. I was thinking 7.5. I was almost thinking 8. In that region, I'll go for 7.75 because it was quite fun to watch, but there's certainly bits that I didn't enjoy. Um, and I think that's what I'll say about it. It's not exactly my type of film. Dark comedy horror isn't really, but it wasn't too bad. Um, so 7.75. Um, and yeah, the compromises and the characters that kind of put me off. And I thought, well, if you're on a desert island and things are really challenging, I can imagine, you know, why things might go the way they go. I was also thinking about the Triangle of Sadness. Ah, I mean, that was where there's quite a lot of characters that you might not like, and that's got comedy and horror, but more comedy, I would say, but a bit, well, different bodily fluids. But um, I'll put a link to that because that's a good film to see after this. Um, that's probably the best film that I've reviewed as the next film for you to see. But I'd love to know what you think about this film if you've seen it. Thanks for watching. Please like if you like this review. Thanks for subscribing. Um, please hit the notification button and click on the link to see Triangle of Sadness because that was a pretty interesting film to see. Thank you. Bye for now. Hope to see you again soon.